Welcome to Mom's True Tea, the podcast where moms can spill the true tea on various thought-provoking topics and challenge beliefs about motherhood and life authentically, unapologetically, and without judgment. I'm your host, 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐠𝐞𝐿. Today, let's get into the topic that's not talked about enough, as always, one that's painful, controversial, and unfortunately, way too common, and that's parental alienation. But wait, this just doesn't happen when parents get divorced. This is also happening when couples that aren't married call it quits. We call it baby mama drama or baby daddy drama. For those unfamiliar, parental alienation is when one parent intentionally turns their children against the other parent after a breakup or after divorce. It's one of those issues that's common, but it's really all about the emotions of the person that's creating that dynamic with the child, and it could be a mother or father. It's a topic that is prevalent, yet there's not much discussion around it, yet it's affecting the lives of so many children and parents out there. So grab your tea, have a seat, and let's get into it. When we think about divorce, we often talk about custody battles, splitting assets, or the stress that's on both parents. But what we don't always discuss is what happens when one parent decides to use the children as a weapon against the other. It might start off small, like little sarcastic remarks here and there, or, like, your dad's too busy for you again, huh? Or, if your mom really cared, she'd be here on time. It's those little comments disguised as frustration that slowly work their way into a child's psyche, not realizing your kids are like emotional sponges. They soak up the feelings and attitudes around them, especially when those attitudes are coming from someone they trust and love, like a parent. So you plant the seeds of alienation, or they're planted every single time a comment against that parent is made. And let's be honest, alienation doesn't happen in a vacuum, nor is it linear. It's a slow manipulation of the child. It's brainwashing of the child. It's turning the child against the other parent by saying all kind of low down, dirty shit. That's not true. It's not that the alienating parent is so concerned about the child or has the child's best interest at heart. It's really all about making that other parent look bad. It's about causing division between the child and that parent, creating chaos because you're in your feelings or you're hurt and you're angry and you're just petty. It is the lowest level of pettiness and it's dangerous. Trust me, I know all too well. But there's always a backstory. I'm not here to minimize the pain and resentment that can come with a broken relationship. Trust me, I get that. Divorce, a lack of maturity, and a lack of accountability and bitterness, it brings out the worst in some of us. We're hurt, we're angry, and maybe even vengeful. But the truth is, our children should not be the ones to bear the brunt of our unhealed wounds. They deserve to be able to establish their own relationship with the other parent, love freely, without the pressure of having to choose sides or feeling like they're betraying one parent over the other or by loving the other parent. My experience with parental alienation was when my ex-husband and I were going through our divorce. I was trying to be amicable and really set a foundation of positive co-parenting. But clearly, he had another agenda. He would say things to my younger son like, I can't come and see you anymore because your mama took the car. He never told him that I gave him my old car that I paid off and I paid for while we were together. So he would have transportation to get back and forth to work or to come and see my son. He didn't tell him that he couldn't insure the car or on his own because of his horrible driving record or the fact that he actually sold the damn car, he would say, also, I can't call you anymore because your mom cut my phone off. Instead of, your mom gave me 30 days to get my phone switched over from her phone plan that she's had me on for the last 5 years. Or, I can't get you this because your mom is taking all of my money with child support. Instead of saying, I only made one child support payment. I begged your mom to take me off child support and promised to help her out, but never did your entire 20 plus years after the divorce. Or he would call him every morning before we got ready to go to school and work and rile him up. Then guess who would have to deal with his behavior throughout the day? Me. And the final straw was that I was cheating on him with my now husband of 18 years instead of confirming that he and I were divorced before I even started dating my now husband. And we won't even get into how my ex's family played a part in this as well. So my son developed this love hate for me and still has it to this day. And he's 29 years old. I didn't know this was a form of parent alienation until I researched it. I was thinking I was crazy or that it was just manipulation, in which that's part of it. But now I have an actual name for this. The way my ex was controlling the emotions of my younger son and still does to this day, it got so bad. I would have to remove the phone from the jack at night so he wouldn't call him to agitate him. Because guess what happens when that agitation takes place? The parent that's on the receiving end of the parental alienation, and it's also typically the parent that has custody of the child, they're always the one that experiences the anger, the abuse, the disrespect from that child. And this takes an emotional toll on you as a mother or father. And let's not forget the siblings that have to also deal with this. But you're trying to be the bigger person in the situation. You're trying to stay patient with the child. You're trying to stay loving with the child, and you bite your damn tongue about the parent who's doing the alienating when we know deep down there is a whole lot that we could say. I was determined to not make negative comments about either of my son's father, and it didn't take much effort for me to do that. And that's because any negative comments about either of my son's fathers, it didn't benefit me. I saw no benefit in doing that. Or how was that going to help my sons or me? Plus, as always, when I say when I'm done, I was done. They were no longer a factor to me. My sons had their own free will to form their own relationships with their dads and their own opinions about them without me interfering or even discussing them. It wasn't until they became adults and they would ask me questions or bring certain things up that I would give them my honest and factual response, but never my opinion of either of them. And again, trust me, there's a whole lot that I can say. Parental alienation is heartbreaking because this doesn't just damage the relationship between you and the child as the alienated parent, it affects the child's entire outlook on what love and trust looks like. They start to question the alienated parent's love for them. They develop this love-hate relationship for you. They make you the villain in all of their stories. And that's because that's the picture that has been painted by the parent that is alienating you. And unfortunately, this relationship dynamic can go on for years, not just until the child grows up. I wish I could tell you differently. It could lead to a lifetime of struggling with your self-worth as a parent. Then the child has difficulty trusting others and carrying the belief that love always comes with these strings attached. That child sometimes becomes the worst form of the very parent that created the alienation in the first place. But I digress. This doesn't just happen with moms being on the receiving end of parental alienation either. Some cases, it's fathers too, aka baby mama drama. The moms say things like, I can't get this for you because your dad isn't giving me money or child support, even when they know that's a damn lie. I know of someone personally that tried to be there for his children, but because he had moved on from the mother and wouldn't allow her to dictate how he showed up in his children's lives, she would tell the children things like he didn't care about them, or she couldn't afford to buy them certain things because he wasn't paying child support. The whole time, this man was paying child support. And his daughter did not know. She was completely unaware that her dad was providing financial support to her mother all of those years until he finally had a conversation with her as an adult. She had no idea. And because of the man that he would never say derogatory comments about her mom. He just simply had to give her the facts. And that was that he was always providing financial support and was always trying to be present in their lives, but just not on her terms. The type of woman that would alienate a father because of her own bitterness or her own hurt or vengefulness and turn her children against their father, she's low. And that's some nasty work. If you're listening to this and you recognize that maybe you've made a comment or two like that out of pain, I want to tell you to do some self-reflection. Take accountability and stop that shit. It doesn't benefit the child, nor does it benefit you. One way you can move forward is go heal. Go heal. Go and deal with your emotions and grow up. Because it's immaturity. When all parties do the work they need to individually and collectively, change can happen. Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience that, but I know that it can happen. It starts with acknowledging the part that you are playing in alienating a parent and making a conscious effort to put that child's emotional well-being above your own feelings about the other parent. And that's what I did. If possible, and depending on the situation, it's also important to stay consistent. Keep reaching out. And most importantly, never stop showing love for your child and keep fighting as much as possible. Kids are perceptive. They might be confused during this experience, but deep down, they will remember who was always there for them. But children deserve a space to process their emotions without being influenced by one side or the other. And not only that, they will see that parent for who they really are in due time. And you won't have to say a damn word. To the parents who are on the receiving end of this alienation, you're not alone. It hurts. It is heartbreaking and it hurts real bad when your child starts to treat you a certain way and you know it's because of the other parent. It can feel like you're losing your children in some cases, and you actually do to a certain degree. You feel like all the love and effort that you put into that relationship is being totally erased and disregarded. But try your best not to give up. I know it's hard. Trust the Most High to intervene and show the truth, to bring healing and reconciliation. And in some cases, I know you may not want to hear this, but you just may have to let go and let God. It's hard to do, but when a child has been poisoned against you, you have no control in the matter. It does not matter how much you try to show them differently, how much you try to show up for them, how much of your side of the story is actually the truth. Sometimes the damage is done and it's often irreversible. And that's just the truth. Also, trust you are not alone in this fight. And there are so many parents out there who may be experiencing this currently, who've been where you are, like me, who've struggled, and they've actually been able to rebuild those relationships over time. Or some of us, we just choose peace over continually dealing with the disrespect and the alienation and everything that comes with that. But you never stop loving your child. You never stop loving your child. Parental alienation is a tragic byproduct of our own pain, but we owe it to our children to do better. Divorce, separation, no longer being with the baby mama, no longer being with the baby daddy, all those things are a part of separation and it changes families, but it does not have to destroy them. And children deserve to grow up knowing that both of their parents love them regardless of how things ended between us. So let that petty shit go, bro. If you are the parent experience parental alienation, just know you're not alone. There are so many other parents that have experienced this, and they may still be experiencing it, but in some cases, they've been able to rebuild their relationship with their children over time. And they chose peace over the constant heartbreak and the trauma that comes along with this, because it does impact your mental well-being, especially as a mom. For your children to have such contention for you and hatred for you, and it's as a result of another parent and not what you have done, it is the most painful thing that you will ever experience as a mom. And I say that from a perspective of someone who has dealt with it for over 20 years now. If you are someone is dealing with this, I encourage you to speak up. Speak your truth. Seek support. Talk to professionals. Reach out to other parents who've been through it. And remember that healing starts with the choices that we make today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Or if you have a story to share about this topic, drop a comment on my social at Moms MUMS True T, or send me a message. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so blessed to have a community where I can show up as my most authentic self, because I don't know what else to be. Don't forget to favorite the show, leave a review, and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite streaming platforms to stay up to date on new episodes. Subscribe to my newsletter at momstruetea.com. Follow us on all socials at MUMSTRUETEA, and be sure to share and stay tuned for more thought-provoking topics and real talk on Moms True Tea with Kendall Lachey. Until next time, remember, you need you just as much as anyone else, so stop playing about you, okay? Bye.